Minecraft's been having free updates for years now. New content is a good thing. But the older Minecraft gets, one sentiment is growing stronger. Minecraft is too easy. You hear it, see it all over YouTube, it's everywhere. I don't think enough of them address that a lot of this is because of power creep. Drawing back to 1.9, the elytra was added, trivializing all other means of transport. Now, as powerful as it was an end game item. And end game items are usually okay to have overpowered because, well, you beat the game. Now, a little bit later on, they added tridents. Tridents were good, but they were hard to get, and they weren't really that good. The swords are still better in everyday to-day life. Crossbows were also added, but they aren't that great either. You get fireworks, but it was still, they're stronger, definitely. Firework crossbows are really good, but it's just not enough for it to be concerning. Then came the Netherite gear. This, I believe, is the first example, and this is where it started taking a toll on Minecraft. All right, now, I've said all this stuff about power creep, blah, 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 yes, but what is power creep? Power creep is a situation where successive updates or expansions into the game introduce more powerful units or abilities, leaving the older ones underpowered. Now, all the updates leading up to this did add to the issue, but Netherite was the most prevalent. Netherite was hard to get, and especially when they added the smithing template system, it was difficult. But it was not hard enough to justify its existence. It's better diamond armor, take less knockback, you get more armor toughness, and it's harder to lose because you don't die in lava. Who needs that? What's it for? People who die to lava often are not skilled enough to get netherite armor, and there are no stronger mobs added that you would need netherite for. Now, one might argue, well, piglin brutes were added, and hoglins, and those are more difficult, so you need netherite armor. But that's a challenge to get netherite. You don't need netherite to get those things. It's all backwards. So it can't be argued that you need netherite for that mob, because you need to fight that mob to get netherite. Netherite armor was part of the nether update, which is one of the best updates Minecraft ever did, because it added more to progression, and that was a good thing. So I can't give netherite too bad of a rep. So after netherite, which we have nothing to use it on because none of the monsters got more powerful, we got the mace, which, yes, it is difficult to get. The trial chambers and all the gambling you have to do inside there is difficult, but it is not endgame content, and it is way too powerful. As power creep suggests, the next edition outscales the last, and the mace puts netherite armor to shame. Now, we all know how strong the mace is. The mace can one-tap almost anything in the game to have enough height. Now, yeah, it's hard to get that height, but what do you need all that damage for? I mean, you can fall like 4 blocks and one-shot a guy in iron. There is no need for this level of damage in Minecraft. And it's got all these enchantments to make it so much worse. Reach 3, density 5, like, all of this damage to kill what? There are 2 entities, and maybe 3 if you want to count the Warden as the boss, that are like a difficult fight, and those were all of those were fought without netherite, without maces, and with diamond armor. And even then, most people did it in iron. So what's the point? The point is that we need to add something that's even better than the mace next, right? Yeah, so Mojang thought of this genius idea of adding the spear, but it's cheaper, better, and faster, and stronger. What the fuck? Introducing the spear. The spear is another velocity-based weapon for some reason, except it's horizontal. Now, I'm guessing it was intended to be used with mounts like horses, camels, the Nautilus. It was a mount update, you know, it makes sense. The issue is it has the same damage potential as the mace because you can almost always go just as fast as you need, as well as having easier hit timing because you just have to hold it down. You don't have to like time anything. There's no clicking. You just hold the button and you hit the guy. And it can just plow through as many as you want. It's multiple. Now, you may be thinking, wow, it can hit a whole bunch of different guys. It can do insane damage. When paired with the elytra, this is endgame by the way, but when paired with any kind of movement, it can just do insane damage. It has more reach. It's easier to time than the mace. Huh, and they didn't add anything more difficult to counter it? Now, yeah, maybe, it's really strong. Maybe there's some countermeasures, I can't judge too bad. It costs 1 ingot. It's as cheap as a fucking shovel. Now, early game, it is hard to utilize. Not everyone has a horse, because it's not like saddles are craftable now. And even with the horse, it's hard to use combat with that, so what's the problem? Problem is the fact that there is another item that can one-tap whatever the fuck you want it to. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of the videos that you see online are fake and do too much damage because I've tested it out. It doesn't do that much when using an elytra, but it's still insane amounts of damage, especially paired with like a really fast horse. And for the cost it is, I think it's too much. I just feel that it is too easy to obtain to justify its power. It has reach, and it's just easier to use than the mace. Yeah, it doesn't have as good enchantments as a mace, but the point still stands. There are stronger things being added, and there's nothing to counteract it difficulty-wise. Now, I am well aware that this is a snapshot, and it can change anytime. but it probably won't unless the problem is acknowledged, which is why this video exists. Even if they make it more expensive, it's still adding to the power creep, because I don't care how expensive you make this item. If this thing's one-tapping shit, it doesn't make any sense. I don't care how expensive you make it. There's no reason to go get that if there's nothing to use on it. You know, like, yeah, I love getting the god-destroying super hammer. Let me use it on a god, not Jerry the villager. It's not like I can get any worse, right? Cue in the lunge enchantment. Now, the lunge enchantment would be you click a button and you boost forwards, and it would use 128 durable for lunge through anyways, which seemed like a lot, and you couldn't put mending on it, so I mean, I guess it's something. It's cool for movement. I didn't see a problem with lunge, honestly. It's pretty hard to use with the spear. The timing's actually difficult there, and you have to aim it properly. But there was a problem. You can spam that. That's too good. So Mojang decided to nerf it. Well, you're sitting here like, why are you acting so upset, Yum? They're nerfing it, and that's helping. No, because they thought, let's put mending back on it. Well, that isn't a nerf. And then they're gonna make it cost hunger. Now you may be sitting here thinking, that's a pretty interesting well, it's more of a rework, most would say, but everyone's calling it a nerf. You may think that's a pretty interesting rework. You have to use it and you have to consume food afterwards. What could possibly be wrong with this? It's almost like early game Minecraft healing is entirely based on food. So you just gave early game Minecraft PvP a really easy way to burn hunger so they can heal more. And it's also an instant escape. You click the button, you blast away, you are hungry, you eat food, and you heal more. Yeah, for aggressiveness, maybe it's a nerf, but this is like the most offensive item there is now. Now, I'm aware that maces and spears can't be blocked with a shield. Yes, I understand that. But I'm not too worried about the PvP scene. I'm talking about for entities, mobs in Minecraft. PvP is a whole other story. I'm not good enough to be able to argue for that. But the mobs are not strong enough. It doesn't make any sense to add this to Minecraft. So that's my take. The spear goes over, use hunger to launch. The launch is a really great enchantment. I love it, but it just doesn't work for a change because it makes it better, at least in my opinion. Okay, well, I've been doing a lot of complaining. Now, is there a solution? Because if I only complain and make no solution, I'm just a terrible person. I don't know. So, what's the solution? Honestly, really difficult. Because Mojang is just digging themselves a deeper and deeper hole. Now, we're going to go into another controversy that's recently started, which is Jeb's response to Creeper's additions. Jeb went down and confirmed that the Creeper wouldn't be added to modern Minecraft because it breaks the rules. Now, the problem is that they keep adding stronger gear and weapons and items. This is great for the PvP community, and I'm sure they're loving it. And I actually like it too. Mace is fun, the spear is cool. Netherite armor wasn't that bad of an addition, but they are ignoring the effect this has on Minecraft as a base game. The problem is, I do not think there's a solution that Mojang will actually take, because they are not allowed to add anything difficult anymore. It can't destroy anything unless it's the player's fault. Oh yeah, you can make a boss you summon or something like that, but the last boss was added how long ago? What are the chances of that? So I'm going to give you my solution. I highly doubt it'll be used, but I'll give it. Netherite armor, alright? After you go to the nether and get nether armor, there needs to be something more difficult that you would need this armor for. Maybe something that this armor toughness or this knockback would be good for. Or maybe something, just an area of the game which is more difficult that having a better gear be useful. Make a mob that the mace would be required to do significant damage to. Make a event that has a lot of enemies that you have to attack that the spear could pierce through. Alright? They need to add more difficulties. They're making more powerful items and not making anything to counteract it. Now, will they ever do that? I do not know. Supposedly, the zombie on the zombie horse does a good amount of damage. I don't think it has anything on the ability to just fucking one-tap something with a mace, but it's something. Mounts update is cool and all, but they're just blatantly overlooking the problems we have. Now, I haven't sat down for a really long time to think about solutions. If you guys think of a better solution, please let me know. I'd be really cool to look at you guys' thoughts. But I just think, like I said, I'm not like this licensed person that knows everything about Minecraft. But from my perspective, they keep adding things which are too much for Minecraft. You cannot add the Terra Blade from Terraria to Minecraft and expect it to make sense. This feels like the Minecraft mod, which added an overpowered weapon with nothing to go against it because it's built for other mod packs. When you add guns to Minecraft, yeah, it's overpowered. But you add stronger zombie hordes to counteract it. Mojang isn't doing that. They're just adding random power items that kill things that don't exist. Thank you for listening to my rant. I just needed to, like, I needed to say it. No, I haven't seen anyone talk about power creep yet. I understand Minecraft's been getting easier, but, like, I just need to say it. Don't throw any hate or anything. This is all constructive criticism. I'm just a little frustrated that this keeps happening. Like, the mace was cool, but that was, like, the major thing that I went, what the fuck? And then they added the spear, and it just went all the way downhill. I just want to know if Mojang is going to take the step in the right direction. I want to know if you guys have any solutions or something. I also like to know if I'm entirely in the wrong. Maybe my thoughts here are just completely wrong and a bad idea. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it. Maybe the spear isn't that great. Maybe the mace is impractical. I've used these items. I feel they're overpowered, but I want constructive criticism. I need more opinions. So if you guys can do that, that'd be helpfully appreciated. Have a good one, guys.